All right, guys. So my name is Belinda Lau. I'm an EMBA 2020. So I graduated on Zoom just like this, which is cool. And I am the CEO and co-founder of ELIMS Oral Care. We are sort of like an Anderson baby, I would say. I had the idea at Anderson, took it through a couple different accelerators, including BCO, which you guys may be familiar with. And we launched about a year after I graduated. So I'll get a little bit into that, but I thought it'd be more interesting to start with like the company and what we're trying to do. That way you can kind of see what my journey has been. So what we have been trying to do with our products is really be at the cross section of clinically backed oral care and sustainability. So, I had this idea. I was literally in the car on the 405 on my way to an office hour with Professor George Abe, who is one of the professors of entrepreneurship for the EMBA class. And I love this guy because he is called the dream killer. He is the person that you pitch your idea and he will tell you, don't waste your time, don't waste your money. And so I remember driving down the 405. It was in my first year. And I was listening to a podcast called How I Built This. And it's a podcast about founders and their stories and their mistakes and successes. And it's just such a great podcast. If you guys haven't listened in on it, you really should. It really has given me a lot of insights into entrepreneurship and kind of seeing what other people have done. And in this particular day, I was listening to a podcast about Tom's Shoes. And their business model when they launched was, for every shoe that is purchased, they donate a pair of shoes. And I just love the ethos of it. I love the mission behind it. And I just thought, man, I should do something very similar. My background is in product development for medical devices. I spent 15 years at Medtronic, Fortune 500 company. And I really wanted to combine my background, something I knew how to do, with something I actually cared about. So sustainability is very core to my life. I've grown up, composting and recycling, carrying my own water bottle and utensils everywhere. That's just who I am. And my husband actually, and he's a UCLA dentist, and he and I have been talking for years about doing something together. And so that's how we kind of came up with this idea. And in fact, we started together with another MBA classmate, Pradnya. She's still a co-founder, but she's since exited the company. And I can tell you that story on another panel, but we're still good friends. I just, even last night I had drinks with her, but that was the core of the business. And what we did is, when we had the idea, really in entrepreneurship, if you've got an idea, the first thing you need to do is go figure out how big is this nut? Like, how big is this market? Not how big is your solution, but necessarily how big is the market? And so that's the first thing I did. I went to, UCLA's library, and I looked up industry reports and things like that to figure out like how big is this problem in oral care. And the total addressable market is growing. It's over $50 billion. It's like if it's over like 20 billion, I'm good. Like I can find a slice in this pie somewhere. And so some of the solutions that we were looking at, what's our serviceable obtainable market? It's like close to a billion or 3 billion if we do this correctly. So I was like, oh yeah, I mean, it's a massive market, very little in competition. Surprisingly, there's only a few companies who are doing it. So I was like, can I make a difference here? Can my unique background and my resources that I have access to make a difference here? And so the other thing that we looked at was really like, where is the white space here, right? So what we did is using a lot of the resources at UCLA through some of the professors and the alumni, the people in my class, and the access to the databases that UCLA has access to. I actually found that, this cross section that we were trying to go for between sustainable and clinically effective, nobody there. It's like literally everybody's either clinical or they're sustainable. So you got bamboo toothbrushes on one side that quite frankly don't work to clean your teeth. And then you've got like clinically backed stuff. No one is in this corner that we're looking at. So I was like, oh, it's a massive market and there's no one here. It's great. So that's where we started from. And I honestly use so many resources at UCLA to come to this conclusion. And so back in July, we launched ELIMS. And if you guys can't remember the name of my company, it's literally the word smile backwards. And it's really a play on the smile that you see in the mirror. Like, we really want you to love your reflection, right? And so that's where we came up with it. And it's also got a play on like LMs, eliminating waste, eliminating cavities, bad vibes, whatever it is, right? And so these are our hero products. We have 3 right now. We have a teeth whitening product that's won several awards. You'll see in a little bit, we've got a lot of press and recognition. We have 2 toothpaste that are in the natural category, but use a mineral called nanohydroxyapatite. That's a replacement to fluoride, has been used in Asia for over 40 years. A lot of clinical backing behind it. All of our packaging is renewable, so renewable and sustainably sourced, and is recyclable going forward, which you don't really see in our category. And we are sort of all over the news. Right out of the gate when we launched in July, we were on Yahoo Finance, and a lot of major news outlets. Our press release went to like the New York Times and Yahoo and things like that. We were on a morning show here in Los Angeles called Good Day LA, where we were featured. This one of the co-anchors, Sandra Endos, featured our product. We won a couple awards. I've won awards. So I was named in Forbes Next 1000 list earlier this year, actually back in September. Our products have been featured in Vogue as like innovators and things like that. So a lot of great press, still really early on in the business. We have our products on our website. This is elims.com, and we have a couple retail partners. We are in Schofield's department store out of New York City. It's a premium, like a luxury department store that's based in New York City and Miami. We launched on a few sustainable marketplaces in the luxury category. And we're also on Amazon, which is really, really cool. And that's a whole other panel. So this is the crew. I mentioned before that my husband, Casey, who's a UCLA dentist, he's one of our co-founders. And then our other co-founder, Pradya, she doesn't participate in the company anymore. She's sort of like an advisor, but equity advisor, but not participating in the day-to-day. We've got some great advisors and mentors. This is a really small snapshot of all my advisors. I got like 100 advisors at this point for different things. And a lot of them came from the Anderson network. Okay, so that's my business. Just going really quickly. Shannon, how much time do I have? Am I good?
Yeah, a few more minutes. This would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll breeze through this. So, I grew up in Canada. And the reason why I bring this up is because when I was a kid, my parents were immigrants. I was born and raised in Canada. We were super poor. My parents, they were entrepreneurs. And when I tell my parents that, they're like, we weren't entrepreneurs, we were just trying to survive. And so they opened up a gift shop in Vancouver, and that's where I grew up. That's where I learned everything from marketing, the inventory management, operations, right? All of those things. And that's what really set the foundation for me to become or think about becoming an entrepreneur. I went to college at Carnegie Mellon University, double majored in material science and biomedical engineering, spent 15 years at Medtronic, mostly in product development marketing, got a bunch of patents. This is my favorite product here that I worked on at Medtronic. It's called the MiniMed 670G. It was the first artificial pancreas. We were featured in Time Magazine as Invention of the Year a couple years ago, Popular Science, really great stuff. This is my crew at home. It's my booze. So it's my husband, Casey, obviously, my oldest son, Braden, Ryan, Nolan, and then the doggo is Penny. So let's get to the meat of this, of why you guys have been listening to my presentation. So why UCLA and why Anderson? I'm going to look down at my notes here because I really did not want to miss out on a couple points. So we took our business through BCO, and our team is actually in this lower left-hand corner. You can see us in front of the accelerator. This honestly was one of the best teams I've ever worked with in my entire life. Like, this crew of people, I love each and every one of them. We all came from diverse backgrounds, but we took ELIMS through the early stages to through graduation. And I still love these folks to death, and they've been very helpful even to this day, advising me in different places, helping me, connecting me with their networks, and anything that I need. I just reach out one simple text and they're like, don't worry, I got this. So, we have a lot of resources here, and I wanted to point some of these out to you guys. If you guys are thinking of starting a business, the Venture Accelerator Shannon mentioned is really great. We didn't actually go through the program, but we participated in some of their events. One of them was pitch day or demo day at Google here in Venice, presenting to like 400 people, advisors, investors, different people in the UCLA community. So everybody has access to that. We also applied for every competition that UCLA offered. So everything at Anderson, but also in different parts of the UCLA community. So one of the ones that we won was the Lowell Milken Prize, which is out of the law school. So we got second prize there. We won $25,000. I mean, that's like, in startup terms, that's like life-changing money. So definitely you guys have all access to that. And you really have access to any competitions that are in the student category. I mean, Rice University, Berkeley has a lot of competitions that as long as you're a student, you have access to. And we did win a few of those as well. We did some collaborations with the law school and a couple different departments. One thing that I want to point out too is the clubs are really great, even though, a lot of them are geared towards the full-time students. All the EMBAs do have access to them. One or two that I want to mention specifically that I joined was the Entrepreneurs Association. They have all kinds of like hidden gems of events and mentors, just access to a ton of different things. So that's a great one. The other one that I joined is the Jewish Business Students Association. And I'm not Jewish, but a huge fan of that community. So I joined because a very good friend of mine was the president at the time, Guy Rosenthal. And I joined because I really wanted to understand this community better. I wanted to know like whether their cultures, their traditions, how they think. And honestly, it was amazing. They invited me with open arms to like Shabbat dinners and things like that, which is so fun. But let's be honest, like if you're trying to do business in Los Angeles or even in California, you cannot do business without understanding the Jewish community. So that's pretty much why I did it from a business perspective. Another resource that's great on campus is the Technology Development Group at UCLA. They have a ton of resources for entrepreneurs. One that I applied to and got in was Startup in a Box, which you present to the crew. And you get, if you get accepted, you get access to a lot of like startup sort of resources. So law firms, like if you're trying to incorporate accountants, HR, some marketing agencies and things like that. So they probably saved us like $10,000 to $15,000 out of the gate just by applying for those programs. So those are all available to you, even as alumni, I believe. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention just the network at Anderson, the alumni network, obviously, but also the other students at the time, the full-time students, the fully employed, the FEMBA students as well. Like I found that the full-time students, man, these people, they're much younger than me, but they came with such like maturity and insight to different parts of, things that I was struggling with the business. And I really, my business became better because I was interacting with them and I wouldn't have access to them otherwise. So that's, I would say those are the resources. My overall experience with UCLA and the EMBA program, this program is like, when I come back to campus or I see people like Shannon and Christina, it's like I'm coming home. Like this is literally like a part of my life that I cherish so much, that's been super supportive, like Shannon mentioned, sharing successes. And honestly, even like texting like Sumita, that you'll hear from later, I'll text her something and she sends me all kinds of amazing words that like lifts my spirits. I mean, I've never met Sumita in person. I have only talked to her on the phone or seen her on Zoom, but that's the kind of community and the people that are at Anderson as a whole, but also specifically in the EMBA program. So if you guys are on the fence about like, should I do it or not, just the network and the people alone are honestly life-changing. And I couldn't have done what I did with how hard entrepreneurship without this very specific community. So I'm a huge fan. So I think that's my time, and I can answer any questions later.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate, Belinda, that. And I love hearing that you and Smita, because you're not even the same class year, right?
No.
Like, that's what's so cool.
No, I'm a huge fan of Smita.
And I love that. So thank you so much for sharing your journey and story today.